Okay, so here's a little video from my messy garage that's always spring cleaning here on multi-dial coordination and mechanical controllers. So we see here this is a PCE M1000 master traffic controller by Cross Science. It has 3 dials in it. So what that means is it can run 3 different cycle lengths. That is basically 3 different lengths of time it takes to get from Main Street green to Main Street green, based on time of day, a variety of factors, different ways they had to control it. And this one would generate what's called an offset or sync pulse that would be used to synchronize other controllers on the same street with dials of the same gearing, the same cycle lengths installed. So this particular one, at the master level, the dials, the first, second, or third dial are selected via this funky looking, it's very loud, odd looking time clock thing, and the time clock in the back here. What that does is you can kind of see some of the keys are raised and some of them aren't on this clock. So basically every time we go from an off key to an on key, or an on key to an off key, basically there's a change, then this thing moves forward 1 step. Normally this would have a lot more keys in it for the different settings here, but these are definitely very hard to come by nowadays, so I only have a few. But basically these different keys selected different operation by time of day based on these contacts down here. That's a lot more information than you need, but there you go. The main principle going on here is, if you notice on this dial, there's a red key right here. So that red key on the master generates what's called the sync pulse, or the offset, or there's various different ways to describe it. But on the master, all it does is go around. You see nothing really magical happened when that key came around. And notice it's also set at the 0 point, or right before the 0 point, for the beginning of Main Street green. If we go over here to controller number 2, first of all, you notice that it's running the same dial, dial 2. That's because these 2 controllers are interconnected, so whichever dial is picked at the master that's sent down via 7 different wires operating 120 volt AC. It's just basically a real basic simple interconnect that says run, in this case dial 2, just like the master. But additionally, over here we also have a red key right there. And I can't line up my finger. There we go. But notice it's at a different spot on the dial. If you look at the dial itself, you see there's numbers on the outside that increase going clockwise, and there's numbers on the inside that increase going counterclockwise. So the outside numbers represent the length of time on the dial, so that's for the actual length of the signal indications, right? Or the percentage of that dial. Actually, it's a 100% scale. So if it's a 80-second dial, it's whatever percentage of 80 is what that interval is. But on the inside, there's numbers that are going counterclockwise. That represents the offset from the master. So when a new dial is selected, typically these things will not necessarily be in step, and what will happen is that this controller, the new dial, let's say dial 3, will start spinning, but it'll stop once it gets to the red key, until the red key at the master closes its contact, and then this one will keep spinning. It basically just shuts off the motor or applies a brake, or it depends on the kind of controller, to set the new dial. So let me see if I can remember how to get this to pick a new dial. Let's just do it this way. Alright. So I just turned off dial 2. Okay, so we've already got dial 1 running over here. It takes a minute. It doesn't switch until it gets to the top of the cycle, meaning the 0 point on the dial. So the master hasn't caught up yet, but it will have just caught up. It did. I just saw it. So look at this one. It's running and it's not doing anything because it's not necessarily synchronized with the camshaft in the back. That's okay, but you can see the red keys right at 12 o'clock right now. It's coming around. And eventually we're going to keep going very slowly. Alright, we start the peg clearance over here, and it keeps going. Interesting. Well, I think I should have stopped on the red key there. Let me make sure I did something right here. Yeah, we got a red key on this dial too. Well, that might explain some things here. Let's spin the wheel again. See where we get. See? Okay, so you can also call flash from the master. So that's another remote function of that 7-wire interconnect. Turn that off and then go to there. See what we get. Okay, so we're back to dial 2 again. Alright. Alright, so master is running dial 2 once again. See, it's moving. Over here. Wow, I have some problems. Oh, I see. So for some reason, I have a problem with this controller, and I've noticed it before, where it will get stuck in the wrong place. Let's just do what cross sign says not to do. And rotate the dial by hand. You didn't see that, it didn't happen. And we to cycle through over here. It's going to take a while. 80%, 90%. Alright, and okay, now we're running dial 2 again. And we shouldn't be in step yet. So it should get to this red key, and there we go. Okay. So it stopped at the red key now. So over here, we're still way off from the red key. The red key is going to be over here. And it's just going to sit there and wait until the master dial catches up. Which, again, in this setup is the beginning of Main Street Green. Other places, you could make that reference wherever you want on the master dial. It doesn't matter. Usually they put it at 0, but sometimes you might do it at the beginning of yellow for Main Street, or, you know, it doesn't, it's all relative, literally, so. Well, let's see. So we just started the side street on the master. That will be yellow on side street. And there we go. Now we're in step. So, a lot of steps there. I got some problems to trace out, but kind of gives you the gist of multi-dial coordination. So just to be clear, the 7 wires that go between controllers connect usually to the terminal block in the controller that has a bunch of fuses. You can kind of see it back there where that orange, red, and blue wire are on the kind of the middle of the picture. But this cabinet's kind of a rat's nest, so let's look But this one, there we go, that's better. Still kind of a rat's nest. I'm not very good at making these neat, but it's this terminal block here with all the fuses, and you can see kind of it says R1, R2, R3, D2, D3, FL, and a couple other things. So R1, R2, R3 are different resets or offsets. You can do up to 3 on these. Usually people only use reset 1. D2 is to select dial 2, D3 is to select dial 3. Dial 1 doesn't need its own wire because it runs by default. And then the FL is for flash. So that's it. That's my longer than anticipated video. Hope you enjoyed.